Hey folks, I just want to do a quick video to help get you started in the first week of class here. So I'm on the Canvas homepage. Take a look at the overview of the course. Of course, be sure to check out the syllabus and read through it and let me know if you have any questions as well. We're going to start at our formative assessment waypoint, approaching that. And your challenge there is to develop 2 science formative assessment activities. So these first few weeks, we're going to spend a lot of time on formative assessment. First thing you should do after you familiarize yourself with the course and the syllabus and everything is head over to the modules and be sure to start here in the base camp and read the course intro, read about communicating with Slack, and about writing your reflections. And you'll see that one of the things I ask you to do here in the course intro is to introduce yourself in the Slack team in the Basecamp channel. So please do that, and then make sure you've done that. A couple people have done it already, but I need you to do that this week so we can get off and running. And then also, you can watch this short intro video. Look for a thought prompt in the formative assessment channel in Slack sometime. That'll kind of kick off our discussions there. The next thing I want you to do to prepare for our first meeting in a couple of weeks is make sure you look through the big picture on the Inquiry and Scientific Practices project. You have an inquiry project that spans the semester, and you have something due for that the first time we meet. Read through the assignment, look at my example, and think about something that you want to engage in terms of long-term inquiry. And then in our first class meeting, you're going to give a very short presentation on what your inquiry project is going to be. So take a look at that, look at the examples, and think of something now in the next couple of weeks so you can be prepared to share that in our first class meeting. If you have questions about that, post them and ask them in the appropriate channel in Slack, which is number 4, Inquiry Project. And then to get started on formative assessment, look at Module 1, Waypoint 1 here on formative assessment. And again, go to the Start Here page that's built in there, and this will tell you what you're going to do and what you need to do to get started. Before our first synchronous meeting, be sure to read Knowing What Students Know Chapter 2 and a Framework for K-12 Science Ed Chapters 1 to 3, and start working on your FA activity number 1, which is due when we first meet. We can talk about that in the formative assessment channel in Slack as well. Okay, and there are some examples of that. If you click on the FA Activity 1 assignment, it will show you an example of what that could look like, and also talking about the criteria for meeting that. Okay, so you have a lot to do, but we have a couple of weeks till we meet, so pace yourself. Think about when you're going to do those 2 readings, when you're going to work on formative assessment activity, and what you're going to do for your inquiry project. Look at the examples, the example for the inquiry project, and the example for the formative assessment activity. And then also be thinking about how you're going to reflect on your work here. The one last thing I haven't talked about yet, and we'll talk about this more in our first class meeting, is writing your reflections. Be sure that you've accepted the invitation for our SCED site, sced.cu.studio, and this is where we're going to write our reflections for the class. So you will have a couple reflections on formative assessment. Like I said, we'll talk more about that soon. But for now, be sure that you've signed up for an author account on this at the web page, and you've read through the welcome post and some other things. If you're in Capstone now with Dennis, then you're using the exact same kind of platform and you'll recognize this. Or if you've been in course with him before, you may have used this. But okay, you got a lot to do to get started. Let me know if you have any questions. I really look forward to seeing you post your intros on Slack and kicking off the discussion there. Make sure you're checking in on that so that we can stay in touch. Talk to you soon.